Okay, well, I want to take a moment just to address a question that is likely on every single one of our minds, and it's been on our minds since we first suspended gatherings here in this place. The question of reopening. When are we going to get back in here to worship again together? And so I wanted to just take a few minutes and share with you our board's strategy as far as a plan for reopening and moving ahead towards that hope. I say our board's strategy because the reality is that our first commitment is to the health and safety of our church. And so, while we will watch and listen with interest to what other churches in our city and our province do as far as their own reopening strategies, we want to proceed with a plan that best meets the needs and concerns of our church and our people in particular, not anybody else's church. The difficulty in coming up with any strategy as it relates to reopening, of course, is due to the often rapidly changing information. The nature of the information is so often changing, sometimes week to week, and it's a mixture of knowns and unknowns, and of course that's completely understandable. But because of that understandable reality, our board right now has decided that the best way to move forward at this time is slowly and wisely, and with a strategy that follows an order of priority that starts first of all with listening to the Holy Spirit, crying out in prayer and just asking God, you give us wisdom and lead us. Secondly, operating as far as known data, like what do we know for sure that this is what's happening? Thirdly, we'll be listening to BC government and health authority recommendations as far as gatherings. And finally, we'll be listening to our church family's level of comfortability as far as gathering together. All of those things factor into a strategy for how it is we get back into this place. And so what that means, based on those priorities at this time, is that we are going to continue suspending large in-person gatherings in this place for the time being. However, what that does not mean is that we will not be gathering at all. And so here's what I mean by that. Really, there's kind of a two-stage, a short-term and then a longer-term strategy moving ahead. I'll just share that with you quickly. The short-term strategy, first of all, is this. DHBC staff and board will begin working towards returning to working and meeting here in this church building. As safety and as comfortability allows. We're going to, according to BC Health and CDC guidelines, and listen, even more important than that, according to you and your family's level of comfort, we're recommending that you now begin to expand your bubble, as the terminology is, and invite 1 to 2 individuals to now join you on a Sunday morning in your scattered gatherings in your home. And this is only as you are comfortable and want to move ahead with that's not mandated or required at all. But we want to begin expanding that bubble. At this point in time, if you do choose to invite individuals into your gathering, it will have to be the same people every week. Can't be multiple different people, and all the same guidelines of social distancing, masks and hand washing and not touching. All that stuff will still continue to need to be in place at this point. And thirdly, we're recommending, again, as comfort levels are there, that home groups begin to gather together in small gatherings, particularly if you can meet outside right now. Get a bunch of chairs together and being able to have that same social distance and hand washing and all that stuff, but being able to have in-person gatherings. Once again, we want to slowly move ahead towards that path again. So that's the short-term strategy as we are moving towards in-person gathering in this space altogether. Once again, that's the short-term. But as we begin to do this, as we begin implementing these initial steps, and assuming that restrictions continue to loosen in our province, we will then, our hope is that we will then be able to move towards a hybrid Sunday morning service that's going to include in-person gathering here, as well as a continued online presence that we will live stream in some way, Facebook Live, whatever it is, so that we can serve both those who are able to gather in person and those who cannot or should not yet gather. And then we'll continue that hybrid strategy. Really, that's going to be more ongoing until really such time as there's either a vaccine in place or a sufficient level of herd immunity has been reached. That's really going to be the only time that we can really confidently gather together in this place and trust that we're guarding the safety of every one of our members. I know that that may or may not be the answer that you were hoping for right now. I'm like you. Listen, I'm missing everyone so much, and I'm so anxious for us to get back together to meeting as one family in this place. However, we believe this is the wisest course of action at this time, to not rush ahead because we're so anxious to meet together, and yet not to sit back and do nothing, but to just steadily and safely move towards increasing our gathering sizes until such time as this threat has passed. I want to thank you on behalf of our leadership board for your patience, as well as the trust that you're putting in us right now as we seek to lead through this really unprecedented time. We covet your prayers for wisdom as we seek to lead well and in the days ahead. And welcome, listen, this is the strategy we put together, but tell you what, we welcome all and any comments or feedback or questions that you have regarding this strategy, or listen, or anything. Anything as it relates to the life and health of our church. We welcome your comments and feedback. We love you, Dunbar Heights. Praying for you. Can't wait to see you again.